Hello, everybody. My name's Bob Garner, the founder and CEO of EnviroRental, and you're joining one of our regular webinars where we explore sustainability and social responsibility. And I'm really pleased today that we have Noelia Novella from Doinn, and she's going to be giving an amazing presentation about some of the key things that she thinks are important in this work. We've also got Amit with us, who organises these webinars, and he will be looking after everything today. This webinar is being recorded, and we will post it on our YouTube channel afterwards. So I know many of you will be watching this on replay. So I hope you enjoy it and that you find it really useful. Obviously, we'd encourage you all to, as well as to going to the Doinn website, as you'll be hearing about in a moment, but also go to EnviroRental.earth, and that's where you can find all the free resources around sustainability for the short-term rental industry. If you want to know about sustainability and you're in the industry, go there, EnviroRental.earth, and everything is free, and you can tap into all the resources and start or progress on your sustainability journey. Please connect with us on LinkedIn, both myself, Amit, and EnviroRental, and we'll help you on your journey. Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to pass over to Noelia, who's going to be talking about some amazing things that she thinks are really important in this area. And there will be time for questions at the end. So if you're live, post your questions in the chat and we'll take them at the end. Okay, welcome, Noelia, and over to you.
Thank you, Bob, for organizing these webinars to talk about sustainability of the short-term rental industry. I'm going to be talking more about the social perspective, because with the ongoing labor shortage of cleaners and maintenance professionals, it's more crucial than ever to adopt the strategies that not only optimize job performance, but also engage and retain talent. You can see my screen, right?
Not yet.
No, not yet. Okay, now we go.
Yep, now we can.
Very good. So technically, sustainability refers to the ability to maintain or support a process continuously over time. We can just say to maintain over time, right? So for me, the elements that can make our industry to maintain over time are a combination of environmental, economic, and social elements. From the environmental sustainability, I'm sure you Bob, have been talking about more deeply, but I will just focus in the energy efficiency, incorporating energy efficient appliance, lighting, heating, cooling to reduce the energy consumption. Then we have the waste management. We have to implement recycling programs and reduce the single-use plastic to minimize waste. Then we can use eco-friendly materials for renovation and furniture, and then the water conservation, if we can install low-flow fixtures and promoting a little bit the water-saving practices among us, right? Then we have the economical sustainability, and I would say most of the tech we have here on industry is focused on this, right? We have the dynamic pricing strategies, implementing flexible pricing models to maximize occupancy rates and revenue through the year. And then we have the efficient operations using technology, let's say, to streamline operations, such as tax management, logistics, stock, communication, maintenance, scheduling. And this is where my company Doinn will be segmented. Then we have the financial planning. Again, usually the PMSs will help to ensure a robust financial management with this tech. And I will include the marketing diversification with the channel managers that will help you to reach different customer segments through various channels, right? And then we have regulatory compliance. Sure, we need to ensure compliance with the local regulations regarding short-term rentals, but also the insurance to get protected against property damage and liability claims. I would like to mention as well the importance to become a part of the Short-Term Rentals Association for them to negotiate with the legislators in our behalf. Then in terms of technological sustainability, we have all the smart home solutions that are amazing and that are getting better and better. I also wanted to mention the data analytics and how important it is to collect and analyze the data on operations and on guest behavior, because it will help to improve the efficiency and the sustainability practices as well. The automated systems, it will be, well, implementing automation for booking, check-in, check-out, maintenance requests. The thing here is to reduce the manual workload and errors. And then last but not least, we have the social sustainability, where I would like to focus today. And it includes the community engagement, because if we want our industry to survive, we need to build a positive relationships with the local community, addressing their concerns, contributing to local development, either with the guest books or with the guest bar apps we have nowadays. We also need to educate our guests, and I'm sure, Bob, you talk a lot about this, and I know we are all busy, but there is always time to try to educate them when reduce the energy, to do the recycling, and not only this part, but also respecting the local cultures and the sleeping times, okay? Back to the compliance again, but from the social perspective, and I know this is very sensitive, because if we want to maintain the short-term rentals industry over time, we need to ensure fair wages and good working conditions for all employees and contractors. And this might sound very basic to be talked here, but it's amazing for me the number of cleaners we have in our industry that are still in the black market. And if we have labor shortage and they are having really bad conditions, there will be a point that we will have to do the cleaning ourselves, right? So I don't think we want that. Inclusivity. If there is a labor shortage, we should be promoting diversity and inclusion in the hiring practices, and ensure equal opportunities for all the employees, okay? And I'm gonna insist again in the inclusivity here, focusing the people, in hiring people with disabilities. There are countries like Singapore, where I live nowadays, that are helping business to implement inclusive practices. But I mean, for working in cleaning nowadays with all the tech we have, I don't think we need a third party for that. We just need to be open to hire people with disabilities and go to the different associations, give them the opportunity, right? And then the talent retention, and this is the difficult one, because I think it's already complicated to retain our sales guys in the companies, but nothing comparable with the rotation of the cleaners. And this is very bad for any hospitality company, I would say. So let me give you a case study of how technology helps, if you want, with the social diversity and inclusion. So real story, when the war in Ukraine began, it was too long ago, we actually introduced an instant translation system in our app. This initiative was designed to help hire individuals who had relocated from Ukraine to survive, basically. So while they were learning the language, they could actually support their families by working as cleaners, and it really definitely helped in their transition into a new country, right? And at the end of the day, the power of the artificial intelligent translation tools / Google Translate API, that is not that complicated, we are able to help diverse property managers and cleaners to text in their own language, which is amazing, right? And we're actually very proud of the social impact we are having by demolishing the language barrier, right? Here is another example, real screenshot from one of our clients. I have blurred it for privacy. But this property manager discovered that while some cleaners were generating negative margins on cleaning fees, one cleaner was actually bringing almost 700 euros to the company, which is amazing. Without examining the P&L in detail, employee by employee, property by property, these insights will remain hidden, right? And again, if we have this labor shortage, because cleaning is a demanding profession and it's very hard, especially in the short-term rental industry, where the cleaners often handle the linens, they work on peak days, holidays, and with a very tight frames, right? But I know that you guys, as property managers, you also face a very tough challenge because you cannot afford to pay high salaries because the margins are shrinking. Yet, when it comes to talent retention in other departments, engagement is often driven by two factors: potential for growth within the company and bonuses, money, right? Qualitative incentives, and they work well, but we need data to implement them efficiently, right? We need tools that track the time taken for each service, the behaviors of our team members, and guest behaviors as well. And with this data, we should be able to replay questions like, are bachelor groups worth it? Should guests from specific nationalities pay higher cleaning fees? Can we afford to skip cleanings on Sundays? How many check-ins do I have on Sunday? Because they usually have to pay double to the cleaners, right? And it's not only about paying, but also they would like to be with their family like everybody else, right? So data-driven decisions are crucial to optimizing operations, to retain the talent, and to improve profitability in the short-term rental industry. And to gather this data, you can do it manually on a spreadsheet or use housekeeping platforms like Doinn, but just make sure you do it because we know AI will help optimize and automate even more aspects of our business, but we need precise data from several years for that to happen. So we really need to start yesterday. Okay, talent retention, let's do it. I'm gonna share a few tips to retain the talent of your cleaning team. I mean, actually it will work for anybody from the team, but I mean this part. But I asked to ChatGPT, of course, to help me out with a job post for a cleaner. And it gave me a typical one, as you can see, explaining that they will have to vacuum floors, hello, a few of other obvious things, right? The one on the right has been written by me, a human being, still with 25 years of experience in HR. It talks about remarkable people. It talks about passionate team, developing skills, diversity, belonging, empowerment to bring their best selves, smart and eager to learn, right? With something like that, even a university student could feel identified with the requirements of the job, right? If you need to hire people different for the weekend, just do it. Otherwise, sooner or later, they will quit. While you have actually plenty of people available to work during the weekend, for example, the students, right? And then you get into the interview. And I think nowadays we actually can do the first interview online, even with the cleaners, because it's actually going to give you a lot of information about how familiar the person is with the technology. And we need technology to track the performance. But you will also get to know about her focus level. We know it's different. We need to be more focused when we are doing something online than when we are in person. So two things that will give you and will save you time. Then we have the kind of questions. I mean, obviously you need to talk about their experience on cleaning and so on, but the most important thing is to find the true alignment, because candidates will tell you what they think you want to hear. So if you ask them about their ability to work during the weekend and they really need the job, they will say they are okay with that, right? But if you are honest with them and tell them that you are flexible, that any answer is a good answer, maybe you will get the truth, what is super important here. For me, the key sentence is to say what is best for you. And again, insist with any answer is a good answer. Another thing I like to ask is how they are getting into the properties, how they go to work, and let them talk. If they have their own car, if they are very familiar with public transportation, it's good. But if they say they're gonna get a lift with the cousin, probably the consistency of this person is not going to be very high, right? Unless she lives in a very specific place where you have properties and this person can be walking. Otherwise, they're going to spend all the money hiring the person, training the person, and in a few services, the person is going to be gone. So, okay, we did the recruitment process and everything went well, and the cleaner was hired, and now it's time to spend time of them on the training, right? So I like to say that cleaning is a very personal thing, and what means clean for me might not mean the same for you, or definitely my mother-in-law, poor woman, I'm always talking about her, but we all grow up with the cleaning standards of the hotels, and those are the standard operation procedures that you are going to teach them, because the hotels are here for longer, because what our industry needs is a standardization, okay? And I know that every property is going to have a different size and shape, but there is a way to get this standardization. One of the ways will be to have the checklist, right? And it's pretty confusing sometimes, the thing between what is a checklist and what is a SOP. But yeah, I mean, very simple. Your SOP tells you how to do something, but your checklist will make sure that it actually gets done. To be more obvious, the SOP will tell you what to do in case you find a lot of blood, but it's not in the checklist because it's something that doesn't really happen that much, right? So not only the SOPs will tell you about the best practices, but also it will make it far easier for employees to pick up on a new process. A checklist, the SOP checklist will, for employees who are just starting to learn, it's actually very handy because they can focus on the task instead of placing all the efforts in remembering the steps, right? Just check. There we go. Having these standard operation procedures allows managers to delegate processes without worrying too much. And somehow they can rest assured that those completing it, they will do the task in the way they should be doing. And managers can actually trust the team and do not micromanage. And remember, we talked about the cleaners' performance insights from the beginning. So guess what? The standard operation procedures will boost the productivity. And it will save you time on employee training, and it will avoid potential litigations and compensations to be paid out, and reduce the risk of accidents. By the consistent use of SOPs in all processes, something magical is going to happen. There's a good chance of employees coming forward with improvements related to a critical process. So you will get better and better. Once the standard operation procedure is in place, employees know by themselves that what is expecting from them, right? And by laying down the expectations clearly in the SOPs, you also remind the workforce that they are being monitored for their performance with potential incentives if they perform well. Remember, money. So this makes the standard operation procedures the right motivation for employees to perform to their optimum best and thereby improving productivity. With the SOPs well-defined and the performance data of the employees, you will get enough transparency to understand which employees are more or less profitable. So now the new team member has had the training and everything goes well. Let's see how to deal with the first and foremost days. Let's do it. So, okay, because the kind of company I founded, I frequently heard the comment that cleaners that are outsourced do not have the same level of engagement. Well, for me, it's hard to understand because I've been an external consultant myself for many years, and I was actually more motivated than in-house employees. Since we have placed a really cool messaging system in our app, I realized that most of the property managers use the messaging system for two things. We have a messaging system, a lot of people has WhatsApp, right? But usually the conversations are asking for a favor to complain about something that didn't meet their expectations. Really, I know we are all busy, but how many seconds of your day it takes just to say good morning, thank you, good job, and a wonderful day? And if you want to retain the talent, this is important as well, and especially even more in the first days when they need extra support. Well, you have this cleaners handover. Let me tell you, you are not alone. That's the reason why I founded Doinn, the housekeeping platform for short-term rentals and from cleaning companies. But if you really want to have in-house cleaning teams, I hope you learned something today. And do not upset high employees handover. Okay, you can do it. So, well, time to get back to Bob. Here are my contacts. Well, Bob, I hope you like it and what I brought to your audience today. And the stage is yours.
Great, thank you so much. That was really, really interesting. Thank you so much, Noelia. We'll hand over for questions in the moment. I think most people are going to be watching this afterwards online, so I'll just kick off with a couple of questions. One of the things that we certainly talk about at EnviroRental a lot is the business benefits around sustainability, because I think that's what's most attractive to short-term rental owners. Everybody's interested in reducing their costs, increasing their profit, getting a better return on investment. So certainly at EnviroRental, we really stress the business benefits. And I was interested very much in what you were saying early on in your presentation about talent attraction and retention. And there's been some really useful surveys, particularly among the younger generations, that many people in those communities are really attracted to work for organizations that are doing something good around sustainability, around community, around employee support, around working well with contractors. And they feel an affinity with a particular employer when they can see that that employer is trying to do the right thing for their community, for the workforce, for the environment. And that's a great way of attracting those people and also retaining them. And I wonder, do you have a view on that?
Oh, sure, definitely. I mean, for us in our team, I'm always making a lot of effort for people to understand that this is not about the money. I mean, in fact, when I'm doing the interviews and when I'm recruiting people for the team, I need to find people that is not about the money, but it's about being meaningful with the job you do, right? We spend so many hours doing working. That at least we have to have fun, we have to enjoy, and definitely, well, to do a little thing for the environment or for the society in general, definitely.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And really, I would encourage anybody listening or watching is do go to our website, look at our roadmap and look at the simple steps that you can take. And we really encourage people to take the first steps that aren't going to cost you any money or very little, but will have the biggest impact. And that way you can get started, make a difference, and start to promote yourself as sustainable without greenwashing, of course. And that is a great way of publicizing that and attracting those people who want to work for ethical companies. And then my second question, Noelia, would be, you touched on early on in your presentation about compliance and regulation and insurance. And again, this is one of these topics that we talk about a lot in EnviroRental, in the fact that we now need to start having an eye on the different types of regulation that are going to be coming in around the world in different regions that might impact on us as our ability to run a great short-term rental operation. And particularly with insurance, for instance, in Australia, they're starting to see now that the cost of insurance is going up prohibitively because of the environmental factors and the cost of insuring a short-term rental. And actually, some people feel like they're being priced out of the market. Have you had any experience of this with your clients, or what would you like to say about insurance and how best to approach that with an eco element?
I mean, we are lucky that nowadays we have insurance that are pretty much focused in our business. When we started 9 years ago, we tried to do a lot of partnerships with insurance companies, and they were completely lost. And actually, the prices they were giving us were, yeah, with no sense because they never had the track record, right? So, well, yeah, things are getting more expensive. You are mentioning it about Australia, but in Australia you can pay easily $40 per hour for cleaning. So when I talk as well about optimizing these kind of services and these kind of jobs, uh, maybe if you pay 10 euros per hour and you save 10 minutes, it's not that important. But if you're paying 40, at the end of the year, you save a lot of money, right? With insurance, it's going to be a little bit the same. If you are able to, well, to do a lot of things on your own, as we have the maintenance people and so on, the prices won't get up. But when there is a new business, we always have this process to where people is trying to get the best of what they are paying for. So I believe they have been a lot of abuse with the insurances, and that's why they are now being more expensive. But yeah, it's on us, right?
Yeah, yeah. And I think, again, you touched on in your presentation the importance of joining an appropriate quality association who can represent the short-term rental owner. And do you want to say some words about that and why that is so important to represent short-term rental hosts around the world?
Well, I think when we are a property manager, we already, I mean, property manager or any kind of business, right? We already wear so many different hats. I understand there might be people that is very good and has a very good network for negotiating something, right? But ideally, we should be paying to an association to be dealing with this. They are experts, they study law, they understand the needs of the property managers, and there is a very important need for having them. But I do understand again that people want to save money, but they are not saving money because there will be a point, and we already have all these limitations because no one is negotiating on behalf of us, right? So yeah, it's not that much. I mean, usually the association is like 100 euros per year. Sometimes it can be more, but I mean, it's like super cheap compared with what you would be doing. First, dedicating a lot of time to understand what is going on. For me, time is more expensive than anything, right? And then probably just paying a special lawyer for taking care of different stuff. So yes, come on, it's the easier solution, the cheaper solution. Don't know what we are waiting for.
Yeah, yeah, totally. Yeah. And I was also really interested what you were saying about the cleaners and how they may be traveling to the destinations when they're doing their work. And how does Doinn help in that regard, in the sense of if we can coordinate our cleaners so that they have the least expansive route to get from one destination to another, we can lower their carbon impact through their travel. Does Doinn have a role there to play in helping making that as streamlined and as efficient as possible?
Exactly. Yeah, we help with that. And we also have two cleaning companies. I mean, we do have the Google Maps API, right? I will tell them what to do and how to do it faster. But also, there was a cleaning company in Spain that is starting acquiring bicycles with a really big space on the back for the linen. I mean, you have a lot of cities that there is not car access into downtown. So actually, these bicycles that are electrical are the best solution for the linen, right? So, I mean, this is not something we are supposed to be doing because we are a tech company, right? But because we are worried about the environment, there was this company starting, and we start talking to all the providers we have in Spain. They start buying the same bicycle for doing the delivery because yeah, it's the best solution, the most practical one, and definitely better for the environment.
Yeah, yeah, totally. And before we just check if there's any questions or whether Amit has any questions, I wanted to also ask about the relationship. Again, you did touch on it in your presentation, the relationship that the short-term rental host or property manager has, not just with their employees, but also with their contractors, and the importance of building solid relationships with contractors. And so, for example, I've always talked about and think it's really important in our business to work with ethical contractors as well. So contractors who themselves have the same values and mindset as the short-term rental owner, and who themselves are also doing something good for the environment or the local community or social responsibility or giving back in some way. And how do you feel about that? What's your opinion?
I mean, it's obviously the right thing to do. You can either search for this kind of providers, so you can go to our platform where all the providers we have, we are sure that they respect the human resources, they invest on training, they do everything legal. So, and even if they are able to use more green products, we give them priority in our system. So yeah, that's what we do, right? It's a must. Come on.
Yeah, yeah. And I don't think you said, so perhaps you could just say for the record where you operate in the world, and if people want to find you, which zones, which areas are you looking to expand into or to develop?
Okay, thank you for the question. Okay, so we are digitizing cleaning companies and cleaning teams because, well, all the reasons I mentioned about getting the data and optimizing and so on. So there are a few countries that we already have a lot of cleaning companies that has been digitized and we trust, and that will be Spain, Portugal, France, Italy, Brazil, and Australia. I know it's a little bit like that, but but yeah, it depends on the cleaning companies, how willing they are to get digitized. The pandemic somehow helped because they had to fire a lot of these middle people or people that were doing very administrative jobs in their office, and they understood that the technology can help with that, right? But yeah, when we started, they were doing all the scheduling and everything in a whiteboard, right? Not even an Excel, a whiteboard. And they were like, oh my God. I even remember a provider, it was a linen provider, linen rental provider. They were using the fax.
My God.
So yeah, okay. The idea here is to make things a little bit better, more accurate with all the data, more organized, save time, save mistakes. And this is our goal in our industry, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And you make a point there about providers, and what we're trying to do at EnviroRental is also develop our marketplace. So for anybody listening, if you're looking for a particular provider of a service or a product, we're trying to find those great companies that are out there and promote them, so that as we write case studies and blogs, people are coming to us and saying, well, who do you recommend for this particular product or service or in this area? And we're trying to find those and collect those and promote those companies, because people are starting to realize that they want to be working with ethical companies who are trying to do the right thing socially, for their staff, for the environment, and for their local community. So I'd encourage people to take a look at the marketplace. And Amit's just put a link in the chat. Amit, did you have a question or anything you wanted to say?
Yes, I do have a question. At first, thank you, Noelia, for the amazing presentation. And then we're talking about social sustainability here, right? What advice would you have for, let's say, STR companies looking for more diverse and inclusive work environment from your personal expertise?
I'm back to the associations, but this time with associations that are helping people with disabilities, for example, or associations that are helping migrants with no resources. I mean, if we want to help, there's so many opportunities here to help, and it's not that complicated, really. And it's great. It's beautiful to see people getting their first job working in your company. It's really beautiful. And nowadays with the checklist, with the processes, with everything, it's not that complex, believe me. So
Very inspiring indeed.
Okay, so I don't think there are any other questions. Is there anything else, Noelia, you wanted to say that you feel you haven't had an opportunity to say?
Okay, you were talking about how important is to hire ethical vendors. I would like to add that it's not only important to do it, but also to talk about, right? There are a lot of guests that are very focused on that. The same with the cleaning, professional cleaning is kind of related to the ethical companies. Talk about it because it's more important for the guests of what we think. Okay, I know pricing and so on and location is important, but people are changing a little bit their minds somehow. Yeah, I think we got some issues around, and we appreciate that someone is doing something for help.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I think it's so crucial, isn't it? I mean, we all know, we hear it all the time, is, you know, the very most important thing is that a unit of property should be super clean, welcoming, everything working, nothing broken. And that's part of giving an amazing service. And you can only do that if you've got an amazing team of people, cleaners and facility people who you can trust, who will do an amazing job and report back if there's anything that needs further attention from the management. So obviously that's part of the whole service that you offer, and it's got to be one of the most important things that hosts can do is to think about how they can approach that in the most efficient way. And I guess your role is to help them do that as efficiently and effectively as possible and save money and give better service.
All together, the whole package here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, okay, I wanted to thank you once again, Noelia. It's been really great having this. It's a really different angle on what we normally talk about, and I think that's brought a lot of ideas that we'd like to develop further in EnviroRental. So I appreciate it very much. Thank you so much.
We will
have recorded this and we'll put it up on our YouTube channel in the next day or two, and we'll be promoting it. And there's a lot of people who registered, so who can follow it there. So I know it's getting quite late for you, so enjoy your evening, Noelia, and thank you so much. And we'll speak to you soon.
Sure thing. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye.